I always felt that I had to work harder than the next guy.
He's a different type of motherfucker.
He had a red hot focus. It was nuclear.
Interscope wasn't doing great at that moment.
We come out of the rock and roll world, so I wasn't really understanding hip hop, and I'm the first person to admit that.
I need something a little bit more impressive.
The rap star, Tupac Shakur, charged with shooting 2 off-duty police officers.
We were always trying to calm things down. It was just impossible.
These kids were real. This stuff was really real, and we were right in the middle of it.
There were so many companies out there that turned Death Row down.
All I remember is that Dre and Suge came in to play us the Chronic.
All on the record, dancing.
I've just been trying to put together a new family.
Boom. In comes my Caucasian partner.
His own mother is suing him for defamation.
Go, go, go. How about Dr. Dre?
I was born in Red Hook, Brooklyn in 1953. My grandparents came from Italy, and my mother's father, he was a longshoreman. My dad went to work down the piers as well as a longshoreman. There wasn't a lot of talk about being a doctor or a lawyer. I don't remember one moment of high school that I enjoyed. Catholic school, nuns, suits, jacket, tie, no girls, all guys. I hated every second of it. So then I was thinking not what I was gonna do, I was thinking what I wasn't gonna do. I wanted to do something that felt special.
He's persistent. This motherfucker is he's a different type of motherfucker.
I always felt that I had to work harder than the next guy just to do as well as the next guy.
People become successful and they get locked into the behaviors that led them to be a success. He's willing to shed that and go for something completely else. So Jimmy's career is based on a tremendous lack of fear of moving forward.
The first significant credit on Jimmy's resume was working with John Lennon. Jimmy was the recording engineer. He went from mopping floors to working with a Beatle in approximately 2 years. Later, he worked with Bruce Springsteen. Then his first major production gig with Foghat, where he got fired. Then he went on to produce Patti Smith's Easter album. During this time, Jimmy Iovine witnessed his mentor David Geffen build a record label from nothing and sell it for a fortune. By 1989, he had 15 years of proof that being the most talented person in the room meant nothing if you didn't own the infrastructure.
In 1989, I wanted to stop producing records. I didn't want to be out all night producing records and not see my kids. So I went to a couple of friends. I went to David Geffen, seek their advice,
My first impressions of Jimmy were that he was a sponge. He wanted to make a lot of money. And record producers don't make that much money. People talk about those things.
David taught me the art of business in music. And I was going in not knowing anything about business. And because David sold Geffen Records, everybody wanted to get in the label business. And it was incredible competition. So then there was a guy named Ted Field who is starting a record company, and we really hit it off. We decided to do this together, and I brought along Doug Morris from Atlantic.
I said, Jimmy, you want to start the label? I'm in for half if you want it. I was always in for half.
And that's how Interscope came. And naturally, because Atlantic's our partner, they brought along Time Warner, because Time Warner owns Atlantic. Everyone thinks that I'm going to come in and do rock and roll. And so I came back from lunch one day with Ted, and all of the secretaries are looking at this video, all singing this Rico Suave.
Rico Suave.
And man, fuck it, we're going to sign this.
What? This is going to be our first signing?
Rico.
Is this what we're going to be known for as a record company?
It was a complete free-for-all. Primus, Helmet, Four Non-Blondes, no doubt. Mark Wahlberg, who was known as Marky Mark, with his brother Donnie. And then Tupac was signed by Tom Wiley.
We had very few releases in '91, and Jimmy was a renowned producer, very creative, but he wasn't renowned as a businessman.
He had a red hot focus. It was nuclear.
Interscope wasn't doing great at that moment, and Jimmy had this mad, obsessed focus on the big picture.
Ted Field invested $15 million in Interscope Records of his own fortune alongside Jimmy Iovine and Warner Music's Atlantic Group. who provided the remaining financial backing as a part of a total $20 million joint venture. In its first 2 years of operation, the label lost approximately $15 million. Interscope Records was bleeding money, facing pressure and struggling to make a payroll. The label's distributor, Atlantic Records, almost pulled the plug. In 1992, Interscope Records agreed to be the distributor to an upcoming record label, Death Row Records, which would turn out to be a gold mine. The monumental commercial success of The Chronic generated millions in revenue, saving Interscope from a collapse.
There were so many companies out there that turned Death Row down, that didn't even want to be dealing with that, coming off to the NWA situation. Nobody wanted to deal with this gangster rap thing.
I started second guessing myself. Is it possible that what I think is good isn't good because everybody is telling me it's not working?
And this was what they were calling trash. Cassettes and CDs of rap they say is offensive.
1992. There was tremendous hostility to the rap business.
The record companies were scared. Not because it wasn't making money. They were afraid to deal with the people.
We come out of the rock and roll world, so I wasn't really understanding hip hop, and I'm the first person to admit that. But I had a lot of respect for John McClane. And John came to me and said that he had this record by this producer that was extraordinary. It was a guy from NWA. I didn't know who Dr. Dre was. All I remember is that Dre and Suge came in to play us The Chronic. I said, Dre, who recorded this for you? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, who's the recording engineer? And he said, me. You produced it and you were the engineer? I said, wow, this guy will define Interscope. Dre's sonics were far superior to any rock record being made or any hip hop.
Jimmy was unlike any other record exec that I ever met. He wasn't talking about how many records we were going to sell. It was a conversation about the art.
We started having success right away. So I put Suge and Dre and Death Row Records right next to me on the same floor.
Jimmy took Suge under his wings. Jimmy used to have football games at his house. He would have Suge over there every Sunday with the Kennedys. The reason Interscope was successful versus a lot of the other startups at the time was Jimmy was an animal. The most driven and brilliant person at the same time. He was never off. And he didn't understand why everybody else wasn't the same way.
The street game was about money, getting that paper. Jimmy admired Suge. They cared about each other. They was making money together, winning. But I don't think Jimmy realized how deep the culture shock was that he was getting ready to get into at the time.
Suge would show up with these big dudes, red everywhere, and Snoop had his crew and blues, and it was just nuts.
I need something a little bit more impressive.
The rap star Tupac Shakur is free on bond tonight after his arrest this weekend in Atlanta, charged with shooting 2 off-duty police officers.
He has been criticized for anti-police lyrics.
I don't gotta be a role model. I don't gotta hold your hand. I don't gotta do shit.
Shakur is no stranger to violence. In November 1994, he was shot during a robbery at a Manhattan recording studio. $40,000 worth of jewelry was taken from him.
These kids were real. This stuff was really real, and we were right in the middle of it.
Some of y'all don't appreciate what we're talking about, but this is the only way we got to make money. And if you don't let me make my money on the street, I guarantee you I will make my money on the street.
From our point of view, everybody had the right to say what they were saying as long as they weren't breaking the law. If anything, we were always trying to calm things down. It was just impossible.
Take those extremes and you nurture them and not interfere with what they're doing. The potential is limitless. And that's what Interscope was about, empowering those artists.
Nothing the court can do can punish me more than I've been punished already.
Before he was on death row, Tupac was on Interscope.
What made him great is that he was highly emotional, but all of a sudden, things went strange.
Tupac's in prison.
While Tupac was behind prison walls, Me Against the World was conquering America. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 and remained at #1 for 4 consecutive weeks, taking the spotlight from Bruce Springsteen. Tupac became the first artist ever to have a #1 album while incarcerated, globally selling over 5 million copies eventually. Industry experts estimate that Interscope earned roughly around $15 to $20 million in net profits from Me Against the World after manufacturing, distribution, and artist royalties, establishing a massive footprint for the label's early success. Tupac's bail was set at $1.4 million, but Interscope was hesitant in bailing him out because Pac got into so many problems and controversies already, they simply didn't know what to do with him.
New York Times Magazine section did a story on me.
You do have a responsibility to assess the impact of your work.
A line has been crossed, not just of taste, but of human dignity. Those who pay them have a responsibility. The corporate executives who hide behind the lofty language of free speech should understand this. We will name their names. Time Warner.
Time Warner.
Time Warner's the biggest. Time Warner owns a company called Interscope.
The Death Row Interscope Poop,
which columnist John Leo called the cultural equivalent of owning half the world's mustard gas factories.
The fire starts. Meanwhile, simultaneously,
the media and entertainment industries are buzzing over what may become the third mega media merger of the summer. The deal would create the biggest media company in the world, but both sides say there are still major issues to be worked out.
Because of the proposed merger with Turner, Jerry was a very decent man. He was the CEO of Time Warner. I said, Jimmy, my son teaches with Tupac's lyrics of Harlem. I get it. I said, I got a problem.
All this means continuing headaches for new Time Warner Music Group chairman Michael Fuchs.
I was coming into chaos. This is probably why I was given the job. The board was sick of what was going on. So I was told it's time to clean house.
We meet with Michael Fuchs.
I fired Doug.
I hated the fact that it was me first.
You got some guys from Brooklyn in this war with all of these enormously powerful entities. And Time Warner's first instinct was to buy the whole thing and attempt to clean it up. Death Row Records, which was an absurdity. And then somebody comes over to me and says, you have a phone call, and it's from Jimmy Iovine. Alan, listen, we're gonna have a meeting over at Warner's with everything that's happening.
And I'm banned, right? We'll have the meeting, but he can't come.
They thought that they can manage Ted Fields and the lawyer.
Ted says, got great news.
Warner's proposed to buy our share of the company for $150 million. And I'm ecstatic.
I hang up the phone and I run there. Alan says, shut up. They gave us $150 million. We get rid of Death Row. Nobody likes that music anyway.
Jimmy says, no way, we're not doing it.
Alan says, you idiot. You're going to get all this money.
$150 million?
They can't do this. We're out.
Are you nuts?
Are
you crazy?
I've never been so sure.
Are you fucking crazy?
No.
We didn't do it.
Jimmy, against the advice of his attorneys, had the courage to say, no, we're going to ride with Death Row. This is what we do.
So then Time Warner decides that they have got to sell their share to us. So everything is good. We're happy.
Meanwhile, every time I called Geffen, he would say, you can't be this lucky to get your company back.
I did say that. I said, Jimmy, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to you.
Because Doug now, by the way, is no longer at Warner's. He's at MCA.
And him, Geffen, and Edgar Brofman took our company in.
We bought it again. We bought Interscope.
This was a defining moment, and people lost, which was the Warner side, and people won, which was the Interscope and MCA side.
The success was remarkable. At one point, Interscope was responsible for the top 4 albums in Billboard.
All these things happened around the same time, and I would say it was probably in a month period. It was a lot to deal with. And then we had the 1995 Source Awards. That shit was crazy. And then Suge Knight walks on stage and says the most outrageous shit ever, just completely disrespects Pac.
And one other thing I like to say, any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come and Jeff Paul.
I was like, oh shit, he done fucked up.
So when all this stuff is going on at Warner, this sort of war begins between Bad Boy and Death Row.
The Source Awards changed everything.
I was so confused. It was so intense. I was on a new page I'd never seen in my life before every day. How you doing? Yeah. That's crazy, right? It's gonna get worse. I don't know what the hell's going on.
And I remember his oldest son saying, Dad, you better start to be careful now because somebody's gonna blow your head off.
And I don't know if I don't know what I did. I was on a mission. I was on a very, very intense mission.
It was deadly serious with death row and death threats.
What Suge told me, he and Tupac wanted to get together. What I thought of is Dre and Pac. Time Warner wouldn't allow us to bail out Tupac. So what happened was we advanced Death Row the money, and Death Row bailed out Tupac.
I imagine that Pac himself believed Suge bailed him out. But the truth is, we in Time Warner put up the money. I mean, look, I was definitely part of bailing out Tupac.
They play California Love for the first time. Start manufacturing, start shipping.
Out on bail, fresh out of jail, ride is what we do. Flossing but half caution, we collide with other truths.
When Tupac came into the studio, he just stayed in the booth, wrote the song, laid the song, put up another track. That was amazing. He'll just write about 5 or 6 songs before he comes out.
But as success builds, people react differently. When Pac and Suge got together, it created a very volatile situation. They were going to do what they were going to do, and we couldn't control that.
I'm from the East Coast. Never got into disliking any of the artists, but we had a problem with Suge really disrupting our, quality of life.
Either I'm with you or against you. Fuck Bad Boy as a staff, record label, and as a motherfucking crew.
Death Row was the most valuable single engine in the Interscope machinery. The Death Row albums alone generated over $300 million in combined revenue by 1996, but that money ran through Interscope's distribution pipeline, meaning Jimmy got his percentage on every dollar before Suge saw any of it. Iovine made a fortune by being the middleman between Death Row Atlantic and Time Warner. At its peak enterprise value, Death Row was worth an estimated $325 million, and Interscope was valued at $400 million based on 1996 economic valuation. But Death Row Records was becoming a gang headquarters, so it violently collapsed, and Jimmy took one of its biggest assets, which was Dr. Dre. Death Row Records was burning in ruins and lost all of its major stars, so Jimmy saw Suge and Death Row only as a liability, and in 1997, he quietly cut the distribution deal for Death Row Records and moved on.
Power, control, celebrity, it'll fuck anybody. It happened to Death Row.
Suge went to prison for a long time, and that was the end.
I've just been trying to put together a new family and basically just start all over.
I just thought he was getting his footing.
I was trying some things. I'm with an entirely new group of people. I'm just experimenting. And,
that album didn't do well.
It did terrible.
There's nothing more humbling than putting out a fucking song. Back in those days, I didn't have an artist to work with. I would go to Jimmy's house and have listening sessions. He pops this in, and I was like, what the fuck and who the fuck is that? Rewind that, play that again.
I busted. Great can come from anywhere.
Boom, in comes my Caucasian partner.
Let's cut to the chase, man.
Let's cut to the chase. Eminem comes in this bright yellow fucking sweatsuit.
I'm looking at Dre like, dude, I see you on TV. You're one of my biggest influences ever in life.
And I went and put some samples together, did a couple of things in the drum machine, and I invited him over, and he just went, hi, my name is.
Dre called me up and said, I got this kid, we gotta sign him like today. Now in the record business, generally contracts take 2 months. Dre goes, I don't wanna lose this guy, he's unbelievable, we gotta get this guy signed.
My gut told me Eminem was the artist that I'm supposed to be working with right now. But I didn't know how many racists I had around me.
Everybody except me, here I am.
Because, and everyone was telling him, don't fuck with him.
Everybody around me, the so-called execs and what have you, were all against it. The records that I had done at the time, they didn't work. They wanted me out the building. And then I come up with Eminem, this white boy.
Me, Slim Shady.
My general manager had this 8x10 picture and was like, Dre, this boy's got blue eyes. What are we doing?
We weren't looking for a white controversial rapper. We were looking for great.
I remember just thinking, this is probably not gonna happen for me. I had just got evicted from my house with nowhere really to live.
The timing of this was so fucking crazy. Both of us were in really bad situations, and not only did we click with the music, we became friends.
He's my friend. He's really my friend. He's pretending, but that's my friend.
I thought he was really clever. I thought he was saying some crazy stuff, you know? The stuff he was saying was just so out there, you know? But I trusted Dre.
It's just like, okay, fuck it. I'm throwing the dice. I'm betting all the marbles on Eminem.
I knew he was taking a risk, but I just didn't know how much internal shit he was fighting. You know, I owe him my life for that.
And the winner is Eminem, My Name Is.
Eminem was the most controversial thing we'd ever been involved in. He went places that most people wouldn't go. His own mother is suing him for defamation.
Fuck you too, bitch. Call the cops.
You know, they created a monster.
I had a good teacher. Forget about Dre.
And through all that controversy and shit, Jimmy was like, let him be him.
I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. When you're running after something, you should not look left and right. What does this person think? What does that person think? No. Go. 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 Go.
Go, shorty. It's your birthday.
Aftermath became so fucking successful.
Do I think Eminem and Dr. Dre is responsible for a lot of my success? I'm gonna say, hell yeah.
There was the 50 Cent album that came, the Game album that came, a couple of Eminem albums that came.
Of course, Chronic 2001 sold more than 10 million copies, so Jimmy was vindicated.
Jimmy was on a roll. Nelly Furtado, Timbaland, Pussycat Dolls, Gwen Stefani, Black Eyed Peas. We was the biggest label in the planet.
Jimmy and Dre hit 2 consecutive jackpots with Eminem and 50 Cent, and sold close to 230 million album units globally, making him the best-selling rapper of all time. 50 sold close to 56 million albums worldwide, generating a massive income for everyone involved with it. This success also produced G-Unit, the game, movies, exclusive brand deals, video games, and clothing lines. Jimmy Iovine earned roughly around $100 million directly from the music sales, movies, publishing ownership, and distribution cuts from the Eminem and 50 Cent circle. Riding this huge wave of success, Interscope struck another huge deal when Bad Boy Records was officially moved under Interscope in 2009. At this point, Interscope was widely considered as the most powerful and dominant record label, serving as a corporate engine, a marketing and sales machine, a distribution company, and a record label, all at the same time.
How about Dr. Dre?
Hip-hop mogul Dr. Dre seeming to confirm the reported deal.
A $3 billion deal to acquire Beats.
Are you going to really leave the record industry?
I did. I'm a retired record executive. That's me.
I'm always gonna produce and find young talent, but I'm 30 years in, I'm 50 years old. It's so fucking difficult because making music is a young man's game.
Is it a young man's game? I mean, I was born in '87. I don't know where I'll be 15 years from now, but I know right now, when he say young man's game, all I want to do is write.
Kendrick Lamar was signed to Aftermath Entertainment in 2012, which was under Jimmy's Interscope Records from day one. 2 years later, Beats was sold for $3 billion to Apple. Iovine's 25% stake was valued at $750 million, while Dre's 20% stake was valued at $600 million before taxes. Iovine left Interscope and joined Apple shortly after the sale of Beats. Throughout his entire career, Jimmy Iovine has always positioned himself as the perfect middleman between artists, labels, and corporate powers, making millions in the process and eventually becoming a billionaire, mostly through the hip-hop culture.